Hey, welcome to This Week in Marketing. I'm the special guest. Jason Pantana is here too. I want to talk about 4 things that all great businesses have in common, and that is, number 1, they have a great brand. The association, the feeling that people have evokes something and they say, I want more of that. Number 2 is they've got a great product. That could be the listings that you take. But in today's day and age, it's also the way you package and deliver the services that you provide. That is your product. Number 3, they've got great marketing. And marketing's all about building trust, building your tribe of people that want to engage with you. And the last one, number 4, is great sales and distribution. So Jason, I'm jumping into your show. What's going on, man?
Well, technically it's your show. I'm just hanging out here in Dallas, looking to have some fun times talking about marketing channels to make your brand explode in 2024.
So that is the topic of the day. Everybody's talking about, what do I have to do better and differently in 2024? So we're talking like distribution. I'd put that under channels and distribution being the same. So in your view today, if a real estate agent wants to put their brand on steroids, what are the 5 different channels they should be focusing on? You share, I'm going to interject with some questions. Let's jam.
Yeah. So first, before I dive into the list, I think it's important to address why. I think when you look at your own marketplace, you're going to recognize that, hey, the top producing agents have the strongest brands. This is a marketplace of the rich and the rest. And what I'm seeing with my own personal coaching clients is, if they've invested in doing the work to build an audience that knows, likes, and trusts them, and they have a platform of thought leadership where they can go to that audience to make the right kinds of sales offers because they know their customer so well, if they've done that work to build something that's going to have an asset and have value over time, then they're in a position to actually win in 2024. So the work you do right now in terms of the channels that build your audience, this is an investment. This is an asset.
Right.
Because too many times I come across agents who have like, I just want now money. I want a now opportunity. This is so that when those opportunities come along to make a sales offer, you have the right audience for it. And in terms of channels, the first channel on my list is the obvious channel. 2024 is yet another year where video reigns supreme. Video content of all types. Vertical video, long form video for podcasting. We know that YouTube, for instance, has gotten very, very aggressive with podcasting right now. They have their own, they're the only place where people watch podcasts.
Right.
And so looking at the opportunities of video, the double down this year is going to be an absolute top of your list channel for building your brand.
So I want to just acknowledge for everyone listening or watching, however you're consuming this content, it was so apparent to me, not in 2007 when I got on YouTube, but in the early 90s, when we were creating VHS video products and people would say, oh my goodness, I saw the live listing presentation you did. And I knew that that was from a sales training series that I recorded in 1992 that was being sold all the way up until 1999. I knew it then as I know it now. But today, the thing that I'm seeing, the sort of separation, Jason, between brand or lesser brand, the agents with brands are getting called upon. Right? The agents with brands are getting called upon. And we see it in the trailing 12-month data. The top 1% of agents in the US are up 3 basis points year over year on the number of listings that they're taking. What that tells us is there's a massive consumer flight to quality, just like what we experienced during the pandemic. People went to premium brands, things that they trusted. But on the flip side, the agent going into 2024 who's maybe unwilling to go on camera, do videos, do the other 4 distribution channels you're going to recommend, the reality is they're always going to compete on price. They're always going to be potentially groveling to get the business because consumers have a choice, and they're going to go with the choice that they can. Well, of course I got to call Sarah. She's everywhere. Of course I got to call Phil. He's everywhere. He seems to have all the listings. That's who's winning. So is there a hack today that you would recommend for video for someone that maybe you haven't shared in the past? Something new, something different, or is it just tried and true?
It's a little bit of both. And so as far as the tried and true is concerned, the types of videos that we're seeing win most effectively in our ecosystem of coaching clients are property tours. There's something magic about you showing properties. It puts you inside the thing that's for sale. It shows the consumer what you're doing, which is showing and selling homes.
Okay, wait a minute. That's HGTV. So of course we should be doing that. People like schedule time to watch television to do what you're asking agents to do every single day. So property tours.
And it's a valuable item to them because it takes them inside property properties. It's got entertainment value.
Yep.
It's hyper local, so they can get our house is better than that one.
Yep.
So I would say property tour videos are the lowest hanging fruit and easiest opportunity. A lot of our coaching clients are crushing it with informational videos. We call those talking heads, where it's just them on camera sharing news and advice and feedback about what's happening in the marketplace that's relevant for their hyper-local consumer.
Yes.
And the last type of video that we're seeing is super successful is localized videos where you're talking about local businesses or local amenities. Without going into a lot of detail, the algorithms are becoming much, much, much more interest-based. And so if you make content that aligns with the interest that locals would have, local coffee shops, local businesses, local areas, algorithmically, these platforms like Instagram are going to be a little bit disposed to go ahead and show that to locals so you can build your brand through local video that way.
So let me double down on that. I was recently chatting with David Miele, who is the president of homes.com. And I asked him, what is your strategy? What's going to be like your degree of separation? He said, we're going to go really hard on local content inside of the community. So everybody knows the walking score. Everybody knows the listings that are available. That's almost like table stakes today. They said, we believe fundamentally that if we give people more of the local insights in, so that's going to be agents blogging. It's going to be agents videos. They're like, we're going to go to the marketplace and we're going to find the people that have the right content and put it in display. I mean, could there be a better opportunity if you get that opportunity? I mean, it's going to be bananas. So
it is.
So we know this is one of the strategies. So what's the number 2 channel? Video number 1, video automatically, number 1. We got to do it.
Number 2 is the greatest of all time marketing channel. It's email.
I love it.
We're seeing agents crush it with email, and a lot of folks are leveraging email and they're outsourcing it, or it's canned and it's not getting the level of response that
canned, campy, stupid. You don't read the emails.
Yeah. And that's a disservice to the people who subscribe to your email list. I mean, if somebody's willing to say, yes, message me, they expect some level of quality. And so the types of emails that are having the greatest effect are one, the weekly newsletter. A lot of you are sending it out monthly. That's not often enough. You've got to cut through the noise. People are getting lots of emails every day. And so if you want to cut through the noise, it needs to be more of your newsletters. And those newsletters are an opportunity.
I'm going to make this comment though. So think about your favorite news channel or your not so favorite news channel. They email you 2 to 3 times a day. And in many cases, you have an app that has a pop-up notification for something that's relevant to you. So for me, like Bloomberg is like the only news channel I have. And I want to know what's going on in the Asian markets. I want to know what's going on in fintech. And bing, 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 bing. It's interesting to me. So I want that. So we have people that are sending emails monthly, and I would argue probably getting little to no response. You're saying weekly. I could make the argument for some of our clients daily.
I could too.
Daily, if you have something valuable that they're interested in.
That's the key. And so that then goes back to your content. If you're making videos, if you're making content, having content is like having money.
Right.
When you have money, all of a sudden you think about, where can I put that money? How can I utilize that money?
Yes.
Content's like that. And one of the ways it can be utilized is by putting it into your emails, like Matt Curtis, one of our rockstar clients. His email is literally crushing it to an over 50,000 person email list. He's sending 3 emails a week. And he's getting listings from it. He's getting buyers from it because those emails are crushing. So I would say in 2024, you ought to look really closely at your newsletter. Minimum weekly. But a really good thought exercise is, how good and useful does this have to be in order that I can send it every day and people don't hate me for it? Because you also have to remember, like every video you publish, every email you send, you are incrementally building your brand. And so operating from a plan and not just winging it is an important consideration. But as far as the opportunistic channels, your email is huge. And do you realize that people check their emails every day? And it's generally the first bit they check. The average person checks their inbox before they go to social media.
Exactly. So I think we should create a weekly newsletter, which is, here's what's going on in Cincinnati. But I think you should also do one on Friday called The Weekend.
I love it.
Right? And the weekend is, here's what's maybe going on in town, but here's also a tasty listing. Hey, here's an open house we're doing. Like I think when you name it something, it comes to life. So maybe you're not going to call yours The Weekend. You're going to call it something else. You're going to call it like, the school banana fest, whatever it is.
That's what we call it.
But I couldn't get a name and I saw a banana over there and it just happens. But you're going to name it something, deal of the week. Right? Here's the deal of the week. Here's the hot property.
Market Mondays.
Right? Market Mondays. Mindset Mondays, right? Tom Ferry Show. You're going to name it something to give it life. All right. So number 1 is I'm going video. Number 2, Email rules today, and most people totally miss the mark. What's number 3?
Number 3 is to keep going after reviews, specifically reviews on Google. And also, I'm going to tell you on Yelp as well, and I have my reasons for it. Now, if you've been watching This Week in Marketing, you've heard me talk about Google business profiles and Google reviews ad nauseum.
Yes.
And I will continue to do so. But I want to share some new information that I haven't shared anywhere to anybody other than my own personal coaching clients.
Ooh.
Google's made some adjustments. And they are downshifting, and this is going to be slightly technical, but you've been listening to me talk for a while, most of you. There is a section of Google called the Map Pack. If I do a Google search for best realtor in Nashville, Tennessee, for instance.
The Map, M-A-P, Pack.
The Map Pack is the portion where you see on the right-hand sidebar, generally, a square map with 3 business listings. The Map Pack displays the top 3 Google business profiles in Google for that given search. Now, your reviews have a huge impact in terms of whether or not they're going to show your profile versus somebody else, because there could be tens of thousands of other agents who also have Google business profiles. And so Google has to make a split decision about, well, what's the best optimized profile for that search to rank? So that's the Map Pack, and that's how you get discovered on Google. What's new and interesting and a little bit frustrating is Google has been testing moving that Map Pack down further on the page. So it used to be very high up on the page. And I've been watching it for about a month, and I've been reading up on it through some of the local SEO people that I listen to, and we're definitely seeing it move down.
Why?
My assumption is they're going to try to make a play for their local services ads at the top, and they want to create separation.
Smart.
That's my assumption. The local services ads are a bit of a cluster right now, so they've got some organization to do because they keep putting people who don't belong in your market to get the ads, and it's not overly useful. So I want to say—
not in every case, though. You and I both know. I'm thinking of like Kelly Bob Bear. Shout out to Kelly, right? Kelly Bob. So literally, this guy did $11 million in sales, $11.2 million. He's already at $15 million year to date. When I asked him what's the biggest degree of separation, he's like, Jason Pantana, Google business page, Google local services ads,
all things Google,
putting up reviews, filling every button that Google made available. I've done all of that. Check out his profile, Kelly Bob Bear. Unbelievable real estate agent, super human being. And it was really you and Google. Like he's crushed it here.
I love being on the same list as Google. It's Google and me. I like that.
Jason and Google.
I love that. So I'm not saying you should not continue to prioritize your Google business profile. I am saying they're tinkering right now.
Yeah, they're testing.
What I've noticed is Yelp is being put above that Google Map Pack pretty often. Yelp has tremendous SEO. You can tell me all your complaints about Yelp and I'll share those complaints with you. There's a lot of stuff about it that's frustrating. At the same time, if you're determining where to put the reviews, you got to look at Yelp. Now, I was looking at some research yesterday from our friends at 1000 Watt. And it was really, they put out amazing research. And they had a data point that talked about how we have long expected that the consumer hires an agent they know, like, and trust. I believe the statistic that NAR has shared is that 63% of sellers in the past year found their agent to list and sell their home by way of repeat referral business. What I'm getting at is it's been long tested that you're most likely to get listings from within your immediate circles of sphere of influence and your connections who make referrals and repeat business with you. However, what their study revealed was different. And I think it's because of what you said. We're in a challenging marketplace. And when that happens, there's a flight to quality. We've seen that number on their research come down quite a bit. And what's gone up proportionately is the consumer's reliance on reviews and those types of platforms. So I'm encouraging you in 2024, recognizing that the market will likely be a challenging market that will continue to drive the consumer toward that flight of quality. You've got to invest in building your brand, and you've got to help leverage your customers to help create reviews that can tell that story. Specifically, getting testimonials or reviews from your sellers is the most important, because it is much more consistent that a seller goes searching for an agent than a buyer. Buyers Google search for houses. Sellers look for agents. And so making sure you're going to crush it on Yelp, you're going to crush it on Google, on all the top review platforms is paramount in terms of building your brand.
I love it. I love it. Okay. What's number?
We're on 4. Number 4 is events. None of these are rocket science, but it's events.
But we're talking about channels of distribution. We're talking about ways to enhance your brand. And everybody does this, but they do it half, not everybody. Some people do it exceptionally well. Shout out to Jen Dillard, right?
Yeah, she's doing,
this is a major,
24 events this year or something to that effect. And it ranges from pumpkin carving to pictures with Santa. Jen is the queen at community-styled events.
Yes.
Where she builds her brand through events. Another idea or another agent who comes to mind is Dave Archuleta.
Right.
Dave Archuleta runs a weekly softball league that is weekly reminders of his business and his philanthropy in terms of his contribution and giving to his community through his softball league. He also does his he has a wine tasting. He doesn't like wine, but he does a wine tasting once a month for the community called It Tastes Purple. That's just his personality.
That's just hysterical, yes.
Well, but it's endearing.
Jim Bishop riding bikes, Randy Ora riding bikes, like riding motorcycles. Like they've created these community experiences. And again, we go back to like what is it about a brand that we select? And they create an emotion, they create an experience that's memorable. Like we talked about earlier, like Seth Godin, right? If Hyatt decided to build a shoe line, we'd be like, huh? But if like Nike decided to build a hotel, we kind of know exactly what that experience would be like. So, the line is that, Nike basically has a brand and Hyatt has a logo.
That's right.
And there's a big difference. Like Nike makes me feel something. Tesla makes me feel something. By the way, did you see Joe Rogan shoot the arrow into the new Tesla super truck?
No.
Oh my goodness. It was so awesome. We got to add that clip in someplace. And I'm like number 500 on the list for the super truck. I can't even wait to shoot an arrow at it just to see what it's like. I mean, but my point is like Tesla creates a feeling. Jason Pantana creates a feeling. Tom Ferry creates a feeling. Events associate you with that positive feeling. So it should be part of your strategy for 2024.
And it links so nicely. We talked about local videos. Well, local events. What a natural extension of being all about your community.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, it can also be different types of events. It could be a lot of our clients host happy hours where they just do a round and they start getting connections with their own contacts.
Right.
They do housewarming parties where they sell a house to a buyer. They invite everybody's friends.
Mega open houses, inviting the neighbors. That's another event. How about seller seminars?
Yep.
Right. Any kind of educational thing. How about like Dave Robles? Hey, we're going to do a book drive.
Yeah.
Like that's an event.
Sack and Stone does a shredding event.
Right.
Events are an opportunity, and it could be community events. Yep. It could be events in your geofarm, for your database.
Monica Carr all summer long, the ice cream truck. Mom, you have to list with Monica. She's the one that brings us ice cream.
Yes.
Her average sales price is $2 million in Southern California. And one of her strategies is an event around an ice cream truck during summer in her geographic farm.
What else I love about events is there are a lot of folks who are intimidated by the digital market. Like email marketing has a lot of technical aspects to it. Video, it does as well. Events is as straight-laced as it gets in terms of there's not any complexity. It's just, will you do it?
Yes.
What's your mindset around that? So I think events.
It's put it in your calendar. I'm going to do one event a month because we all know proximity is power. Get around people. Good things always happen. Period. End of story.
100%.
What's number 5?
Number 5 is mailers. Leveraging mailers of all shapes and sizes to include postcards, to include potentially magazines, to include handwritten notes, any type of a mailer opportunity. I was talking with our friend Luke over at Reminder Media.
Yes.
And he shared a comment that has had me thinking for a couple of weeks since I interviewed him. He said, the average American household receives only 2 pieces of marketing mail per day. Think about how many marketing emails you get per day, how many marketing ads you see per day. The access to the consumer in their traditional mailbox is more open now than it's been in a long, long, long time. So we can talk about how, sending out postcards is cost prohibitive. Well, when you think about the ratio to attention and the ratio to actually getting the light of day, I would argue it's not overly expensive.
See, I would liken it to Ken Carey, who I interviewed on my show millions of years ago. Ken does 25 to 30 infomercials a year, but he's only been doing it since 1987. Like Fortune 500 companies call him and say, how do we sell our product on television in short and long form? The guy is absolutely brilliant. So you should definitely watch that show. But he would say, we went on this transition from television, which it was just simply call this 800 number, to now it's go online. Right. So they still do the TV, but then they say, instead of saying call now, they say you can call or visit us online at X. And I think what people need to take from that is the transition from call me about the value of your home or call me to list my house to watch this video on this QR code.
That right there.
Text me this and I'll give you that.
It's content. So I think a lot of people look at postcards as if it's direct mail, and direct mail is inherently a call to action.
Right.
I don't think you can do that, but certainly not all the time.
Right.
We live in a world of content marketing. If you're not content marketing, you're not marketing in 2023 or 2024, whether it's through videos, through events, through mailers, it's all content.
Yes.
And content always comes from a place of contribution. It can call you to action, but only first by offering contribution.
Yes.
And so you mentioned Dave Robles. Dave Robles is the coaching client who came up with the thumb mailer idea.
Right.
So he takes the thumbnail image of the video he published on YouTube. It's a value add piece, puts a QR code on it and sends it out to his entire geo farm. And it's an integrated marketing in the sense that he's repurposing his videos once more. It's like money in the bank. Once you got the content, you got to put it places, and he's using it in his postcards. But the opportunity right now to build your brand through any of these channels, maybe you do all 5, maybe you pick 1 or 2. I think the opportunity is to say, I'm going to be super consistent about this one or that one, and not just do it a little bit, but do it in a way that says, I'm going to double down and go really hard after this to build my brand to the point where it's what you'll be known for in your local marketplace. That's the opportunity right now, is to build your brand. And it goes back to your 4 elements of every great business.
Yes.
The last one is distribution, but it stands on the shoulders of everything that precedes it.
Yes.
You got to have a great brand. You
Bingo.
got to have a great product.
Yep.
You got to have stellar marketing that builds an audience. Your vibe attracts your tribe so that you can distribute to them with the right calls to action.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. So you know what I'm thinking? A great assignment for our friend listening right now is, I would go, if you haven't done, to ChatGPT 4, if you're a Tom Ferry client, Tom AI, and I would literally say, I'd like you to ask me up to 10 to 15 questions about my brand, about the products that I offer, the services I provide, about my marketing and my messaging, and about my distribution, so you can thoroughly understand how I operate in my business. And please ask me questions one at a time. And when you say that to ChatGPT or Tom AI, it's going to then go, okay, well, question number 1, how would you define this? Question number 2. And what's going to happen is it's going to get to know you. Then I take it one step further after I answer all those questions. And sometimes you're going to go, I don't know, make something up for me, right? And it'll do that. But then I'm going to take it one step further and I'm going to say, I'm going to add these 5 elements. Would you write a annual, quarterly, monthly, weekly marketing campaign using all 5 of these channels of distribution for my past clients and my geographic farm? And it will write the entire marketing plan for you. Now, I'm not saying you're just going to copy and paste. What are you going to do? You're going to go, oh, that's stupid, but I can replace it with this. I'm going to add that. Well, I can't do all that stuff because maybe it's out of my budget or that's too much sweat equity. I'm going to mix it up. But the bottom line is, like you and I have said so many times before, we're moving out of this sort of age of trying to figure it out to an age of efficiency. Yeah. And if ChatGPT can help write this entire plan, get to know me, help me unpack those 4 elements to optimize me, then I'm going to use all those tools, because if not now, then when?
Bingo.
Like the last 2 years, so June 2021 to July 1st, 2022, the top 1% of agents across the country in the U.S. were listing about 17.8% of every home in the country. The last 12 months, so call it June or July, whatever it was, 2022 to this year, that number is almost 21%. So it's gone up a little more than 3.2%. The flight to quality is very real, and brand is where it all starts. And if you're not putting your brand on steroids in 2024, it's groveling and it's competing over price.
Yeah. And this isn't new. I mean, we hardly shared anything new here. This is about your attitude to say, I'm going to be consistent, because the results are always in the repetition. So I'm curious in the comments, what's going to be the one you pick? Is it video? Is it mailers? Is it events? What are you picking? And if it's not on the list, let us know in the comments as well. Any final thoughts, Tom?
Thanks for letting me be on my show.
Yeah, right? Can I do my little sign-off line?
Of course, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, this is This Week in Marketing.
That was funny. Love it.